The other day I thought to myself, wow, there are some really bad English dubs out there, but Connor, every English dub is bad. No. I had a few dubs in my mind that I considered were the worst dubs of all time. Yes, I am talking about you, Higurashi, When They Cry. Who the fuck called it that? So, like any normal self-loathing person would, I took to the internet to see if others would validate my opinion and make me feel smart. And if they don't, they are wrong, and I am right. But anyway, whilst I was doing my scientific solid research into the worst dubs ever, one title kept popping up consistently as agreed to be the worst dub of all time. Now, I'd never heard of this, so I was a little confused. And the title was, drumroll please, Mac Go Go Go, or Speed Racer as it was known in the West. I mean, for Christ's sake, even Watch Mojo put it at their number one, so it's gotta be a safe bet. Now, maybe I'm a terrible anime fan, but I had never heard of this show before. So naturally, I was quite skeptical. Until I found an episode of the dub, I put it on, and oh boy, after I heard the first line of dialogue, I knew I was in for a treat. Allow me to show you a 3-second clip from this beautiful show.
Let's take the wheel. No speed.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Right, so it's bad. But how bad is it? Let's just take the show as its own thing, not considering the dub for a second. It's terrible. Oh, it's really bad, but it's the kind of really campy 1960s, 70s vibe bad that makes it also really, really fun to watch. And I'm sure 9-year-old me would have eaten this shit up. I would have been obsessed with this shit as a kid. But I'm not 9, I'm a 22-year-old skeptical man who hates nearly everything in the world. So, here we are. The first thing you'll notice when watching the original Japanese or the English dub is that, my god, the pacing in this show is insanely fast. And the dialogue is equally fast. It's pretty stupid. The amount of information and dialogue they squeeze into some segments is actually incredible. Let me show you a clip.
I want to give it to Pop so he can build a super engine.
I get it, Speed, but they told him at the factory the engine wouldn't work.
I want Pops to build the
I
engine,
know how you
Sparky.
feel, Speed. But read this before you do anything.
A trial race across Sword Mountain, $5,000 to the winner. Pops to build the
I
engine,
know how you
Sparky.
feel.
And the whole goddamn show is like this. All the way through, no one pauses. And when they do pause, it's a really awkward amount of time. If this show ran in the 100-meter Olympic final, it would make Usain Bolt look like he has crippling arthritis. You'll also notice that the lip flaps are not quite there.
You need money?
Come on, take it off if you can.
Trixie, calling the Mach 5, calling the Mach 5. The designs are written on your windshield in invisible ink.
It's very easy to find a section where someone's mouth is moving 5 to 15 frames before they actually start talking. And when you're watching it, you notice it, but it doesn't really feel like a big deal most of the time, but it just kind of like annoys you in the back of your head. You're like, why not just move the audio further along? Or sometimes there's just no lip flaps at all, but somebody's talking.
Give me the gun. I'll take care of this.
The show also has my favorite and thus the most hilarious anime reaction noises you'll ever hear in a show, without doubt. If you've watched an anime, you know what an anime reaction noise is. It's when their like head moves and they go, you know, like that. That's probably a terrible example. But anyway, let me show you some of my favorites in this show. It's supposed to be a really subtle thing in anime that you don't really pay much attention to. Not in this show. They just go for it. Let's play a game. Guess what's happening in the scene based off the weird reaction noises the characters are making. Is it A, 2 characters are cuddling? B, 2 characters are fighting? Is it C, 2 characters are helping each other escape from a volcano? Or is it D, the most awkward handjob in the world? You listen and find out.
Hang on, I'm coming. Come on.
You are listening to two characters help each other out of a volcano. I know, it sounds exactly like you'd expect it to. Definitely doesn't sound like... I would like to point out, I did edit that down. That original scene is like 3 or 4 minutes of that shit, and ain't nobody got time for that. Now, I am well aware that a lot of you are probably thinking that, you know, the English localization team just butchered this, just made an absolute mess of it, and just threw this shit together. And the Japanese version is just probably way better, right? No. No, it's not. To be extremely fair to the English dub crew, this dub is extremely faithful. Considering this came out in 1967, the dialogue and storylines are pretty damn faithful. Of course, there's going to be some censorships or slight changes due to the time, but nowhere near to the scale of 4Kids. And I would argue that the English dub does a better job at matching lip flaps than the damn original Japanese version. And here's a clip to show you why. I wasn't joking. To be safe, I watched the first 3 episodes in both English and Japanese, and the Japanese version is still an awful lot better. Even with the stupid lip flaps in the Japanese version, it is a much better version, and to help illustrate my points, we're going to analyze the same scene both in Japanese and in English.
Okay, now I'm gonna give you a taste of the medicine you deserve. As former champion of the West Side Grunters and Groaners, I promise you're in for a lot of groaning!
The microphone quality is just dreadful, and it's incomprehensible at times. Any character voiced by the old man dude sounds like they're trying to get his lines while they're waterboarding the dude.
What kind of excuse is that? It's ridiculous.
It just gives me PTSD of that one angry dad on Xbox who would just shout at you while you're playing Halo. The mixing of the audio is near non-existent. If you listen to the Japanese version, when they're in the tunnel, it sounds like they're in a damn tunnel. Adding the appropriate reverb based on where your scene is taking place is a huge, huge way to improve the overall quality of your production. And sadly, in the English dub, it sounds like it's taking place in the same room throughout the entire show. The sound effects. Oh god, are they bad. They are just straight up horrible in the dub. Not only will they reuse a sound effect immediately after just using the exact same sound effect, there's also really bad volume issues with the sound effects. They're either too loud or too damn quiet.
Doggery! Dog! Ah!
Some of the voices aren't too great. It all sounds like it's taking place in some area that is Brooklyn-ish, which is weird.
What a daredevil!
He made it, though.
Not for long!
To be fair, the English dub cast was only 4 voice actors for the entire show, whereas the Japanese had 16 voice actors. So you're obviously going to get a lot more variation, and the English dub does kind of suffer because a lot of the voices do sound very similar to me. So to be completely fair, the show is dreadful in the original Japanese also, in my opinion. So then you take the original show, which is also not great and has a lot of glaring issues, and you give the license to an American company. You tell one dude he has 2 days to write and record every episode. Is anyone surprised? I don't imagine you're gonna get fantastic results. And considering the show came out as faithful and as funny as it is, it's pretty damn amazing. Now, I'm sure kids who grew up with this show loved it. And don't get me wrong, it's amazing, for all the wrong reasons. The dub is like a beautiful car crash unfolding, and that just makes me happy. Also, totally unrelated note, there's this really annoying thing that happens in the show all the time where the backgrounds loop in horrible fashion. Let me show you what I mean. And that happens to about 80 to 90% of the backgrounds. But real talk for a moment. Would I recommend watching this show? Yes. Because it's hilarious, for all the wrong reasons. If you haven't watched this show, I would recommend at least watching the first episode of the dub, just so you can experience everything I've told you personally. It's something else. Now the question is this the worst dub of all time? No, I don't think it is. I think maybe from a technical standpoint you could argue it is, but it's 1967 when it was made. I can think of some dubs off the top of my head that are less faithful to the original Japanese, more insulting to the audience, and nowhere near as entertaining to watch as this. This was fun as hell to watch, for all the wrong reasons, but still, it was pretty fun. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing and hitting the bell, liking, going to my Patreon, all the stuff that you have to do on every YouTube channel now. But, you know, if you did enjoy this video and you do want to see more like this in future, please let me know in the comments. It's the only way I'm gonna know if you like this sort of video, because it's quite different from my normal stuff, but still, it doesn't matter.